wish it wasn't out of line to tell him so. The waiter never seems to get my order right. Seems like I got to complain almost every night. How much longer can I take this abuse? I try to be nice.
Oh, welcome to Uncommon Sense. My name is Charlotte Laws, and today we're going to be discussing the 2008 presidential election, whether America is getting stupider, the federal debt and the movie IOUSA, and whether the drinking age should be lowered. But first I'm going to introduce my esteemed panelists, and we have Libby Higgins, who is a city media site search engine guru, which is a mouthful to say.
Yeah, I like to say I get people Googled.
Yes.
So it's even harder to say.
Yes. Well, welcome to the show. And we have her mom, Kate Higgins.
Hello.
And she is a website designer for the same company.
That's right. Libby and I work together.
That's great. That's great. So there was a movie that the two of you had suggested I go see, which is called Idiocracy.
Yes.
And I did see the movie. And do you want to give a little synopsis about, just briefly, what it's about?
Essentially, it's about an army man gets frozen in time to do some sort of army experiment. And I think he's frozen for 500 years. Maybe it's 1,500.
It is 500, right.
And he defrosts and shows up in a world where there's just a bunch of really stupid people.
Right.
And he ends up being the smartest person on the planet.
Right.
And he's very average. He was actually selected for his experiment because he was so average. So he's by no means, I guess by today's standards, so to speak, an intelligent man, but it's a really interesting sort of adventure to watch him sort of solve the society's problems in a very average way.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's something, in some respects, that could actually, or is coming to fruition in certain ways, because statistics show that people that are less intelligent supposedly have more children.
Right.
We have the corporations kind of taking over, which was a big element of this movie also,
Yeah.
because the big thing is that there was a juice company.
Brano, I think.
Something like that, who had decided, so they were watering all the plants.
But it has electrolytes.
Had electrolytes.
Yes.
So they were watering plants with this juice so nothing would ever grow. And
Right.
so this average guy solved the problem
But it
by
has
saying, why don't you
electrolytes.
use water?
Which they over and over said, you mean from the toilet? So that's sort of to demonstrate the society he was in.
Yes.
The only water available was found in the toilet.
Right. So, I mean, it's interesting because when I went to the movies, I don't go that often, but I saw 3 movies in a row this summer. And I guess this is the comedy season, it's summertime. And I saw Tropic Thunder, I saw Step Brothers, and then I saw, what's it called? The Pineapple Express. And I thought they were so stupid. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, it's Idiocracy. You know, it's like it's happening.
Well,
and everybody was laughing.
I will say that I happen to think that Tropic Thunder was one of the best
Really?
movies
I
I've
love
seen
Tropic
in
Thunder.
Oh my God, I
years.
did not think it was
years. It was so well done, and the acting was superb. I would love to see Robert Downey get a
No, he
you know,
was
nod of the hat.
the acting was good. I
Yes.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because my daughter said, you know, movies are, she thinks as an actress, she thinks movies are getting stupider in general.
I think every summer they seem very, very stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible that I think that not necessarily. I will say that I think that we will see very shortly, say November-ish, how stupid everybody's getting. But in general, I think more the stupidity or the frustration or the lack of information and knowledge is really coming out in media outlets.
Yeah, news
There's
media.
just not
News
any.
media
There's no seeking for truth. There's no.
Do you think it's because of the internet and because there's just so many media
No,
sources?
not at
No.
all.
You
Not
just
at all. I
think
think
it-
the internet is the only thing that is intelligent. I'm sorry, but TV has gotten stupider.
And do you think that's just because they're trying to draw an audience and they feel that they have to entertain more
They
than
dumb
give
down
news?
everything
I
for
think
the
so.
average person.
And it's just become such a. I recently saw Ariana Huffington interviewed, and she had said that she was tired of seeing anchors no longer looking for what's true and giving that the spotlight, but now it's become more about giving every single option or
Every
opinion
single view.
equal weight.
Right.
And so even if the anchor or the reporter knows that this is not, it's a frivolous and it's stupid and it's moronic, it's just as valuable to demonstrate and show to the people as say something less moronic or more, informed, or something that has substance to it. So unfortunately, it's really become like an equality thing as opposed to a truth-seeking
That's
thing.
why a debate between creationism and evolution becomes like, both seem to be, everyone acts as though both have facts on their side.
Well, this is a postmodern world, so all opinions have equal weight, right? I mean, that's why
but but it's not, not all opinions have equal weight with fact. Do they?
Well, maybe not with what we call fact, but of course facts are always emerging. And
well, see, that's what's
it should be the seeking for finding those facts as opposed to
Exactly.
continually holding up onto the opinions that have been demonstrated or proven wrong.
I mean, there either are facts or there aren't. So.
Well, speaking of creationism, the election and Sarah Palin and we had the Democratic convention and the Republican convention. So what exactly do you think of the situation currently? And
I think TV is better now than it's been in years.
It's very entertaining.
It's entertaining this year, isn't it?
I think everyone's watching.
Makes my mouth water every night.
It's like from the Olympics to the election, it's just been so much fun.
So are you supporting Obama? Is that who you're supporting for?
Oh, yes.
President? I know you were a Hillary supporter. I remember you saying at
in all
one point.
honesty, I'm not necessarily, even when Hillary was in the race, I wasn't drawn either way. I wanted to see how things played out, and bottom line is I am an Obama supporter in the sense that I really am looking for a leader at this point. I'm looking for somebody who can lead, who is diplomatic, who is going to, raise up the bar in terms of how America is seen,
And who can
as
inspire.
opposed to standardize what we're doing now and maintain that, or and so for those reasons and a number of other ones that I'm sure we'll go into, I would say I'm an Obama supporter, but mainly I'm a voter supporter. I really hope that people get out and.
Well, I don't actually agree with that. I feel that people, if they don't know or don't care, they shouldn't vote. I'm not one of these people that say you should vote. It's your duty to vote. It's your right to vote, and if you don't know and you don't care, don't taint the pool. There are people that do care. Don't mess it up for everyone else.
But I also don't want those people that don't vote to come back later and complain.
Well,
so,
what free speech is about. People like to complain.
Right, but if you're going to complain, be proactive. My opinion is if you want to have a stance and you want to have an opinion, then, live by your words. And
at this point, I actually am thinking of voting for myself. I might even vote for one of you if you want me to. I love John McCain. I'll be honest, I have supported him for a long time, and I worked on his campaign in 2000, but I can't support the ticket now that Sarah Palin is on the ticket. And so so he has lost my vote because of that choice. And specifically, even though I don't agree with her on many issues, it's specifically because she is anti-animal, because she wants to get animals off the endangered species list.
Yep.
She likes to hunt for sport. She's a disaster on animal issues. And
I can't vote for someone who believes in creation, who thinks that evolution is not a fact. I can't do that. I want someone intelligent in the office.
But how much control is she really going to have over that issue? None. And so I don't know why that really should be something.
Supreme Court judge, you could.
Well, no, it's a matter of judgment. If you don't recognize facts, and if you don't recognize science, and if you look at the climate control or in anything that has to do with the environment and as it stands, and when Al Gore goes up and shows you a big, huge line, and it shows 6 billion years ago, here's where we were, and this was the Ice Age, and this is how it happened. She can't look at any of those because it was past 6,000 years. So all of that information to her is null and irrelevant. And so how can you have somebody in power who looks at information
most people,
and says none of this actually happened?
Most people in this country believe in God. Probably just about everyone running for president does, and you could say there are no facts to back that up. There's just a book that perhaps some people got together and wrote, and therefore you've got a whole bunch of candidates who don't believe in fact, who are not agnostics, which
there's a difference between imposing if she believes that there's creationism and whatnot, then she needs to look at the last 6,000 years at least and check out what the environment's done there, as opposed to continually ask for more information.
That's not a deal breaker for me. And I actually don't have a problem even with teachers presenting creationism in the schools. I'm one of these people that feel students are smart enough to figure it out, and there are enough people that want that position supported and put forth. And I don't mind, 30 minutes in a classroom if a teacher wants to present that. I think that's fine. I think students are smart, and they'll say, yes or no, I think that's ridiculous, or I think that makes sense.
But if you're saying students are smart and they can figure out that that's not true, why would you want someone like that in the White House? I want someone smart in the White House for a change. I don't want it select somebody who I think I could find in a bar as a drinking buddy. I want someone who I think I might
think you'd find her in a bar as a
No,
drinking
but
buddy.
that's what George Bush was.
No, but
that's
if,
my,
if
that's
you're
my
going to vote
point.
for her it's because you can go hunting with her and hang
No.
out with her outside, like that doesn't mean anything to me in terms of running for any kind of office, mayor, governor, or vice president.
I think that
of all
plays
things.
to that whole elite thing, and I think that, whether you're, I really think that that's one reason why Obama has trouble.
But again, all of these things that you're saying, like
Because
in
he's
terms
not
of-
coming, when he speaks, for example, he doesn't come from his heart, he comes more from his head,
Oh.
and people don't feel they can relate to
I
that.
completely disagree.
You totally disagree,
I
huh?
100% disagree with that.
Really
Just because
inspirational.
if you believe that he's an elitist, or even if that's an issue, even if it's an issue because she's a hockey mom and she's relating to people on that level, or he is too smart and too elite and talks from his head, and that's a problem. That
No, I'm just
somebody
saying it's
who's
a
running for
perception.
office-
I'm not
no,
saying-
but see, again, then you're saying that we should be playing to the lowest common denominator in the U.S.
I'm just saying
and
a
that the
reality
media-
of what people do, and people feel comfortable with somebody. They think, oh, he's passionate, he's coming from his heart, I can relate to that person. I'm not talking
And
about...
you feel that way about John McCain, that he comes from his heart.
No, I think John McCain would be a fabulous president. I like the fact that he has bucked his party. I like the fact that
He
Okay,
hasn't.
wait. By picking Sarah Palin, did he buck his party
didn't
or buck
buck his
any
what
party.
he did with picking Sarah Palin was to say to his party, go away and leave me alone. I gave you somebody that's pro-life. Now shut up. I want to be a maverick. I'm going to run the way I've always
you
wanted
can't
to run.
you cannot say I am a maverick and say, but I'll give you this one.
No, you
can't.
can't.
It doesn't work that way.
And
You're
you
either a
can't-
maverick and you pick the top 3 guys that you wanted, one of them, and go with them and say, this is the choice I want. Say like, I don't know, Obama did when he said, sorry, Hillary, not interested. You're telling me that there wasn't any pressure there to get her on the ticket?
And you can't vote the
Obama
party
stood up
line.
and said, at this point you could say he's a maverick. He stood up and said, no, I'm going to go with somebody I
No,
want.
a lot of Obama supporters were absolutely against the idea of Hillary on the ticket. So I think it was probably a 50-50 pull there. But McCain wants to get elected, and you can't do anything to make the country better if you don't actually get elected. And Sarah Palin was the smartest political
But he
choice
has voted
for
the
him.
party line for a long time.
I don't agree
many,
with you.
Many
I don't
times.
agree with you. Most of the votes are procedural votes, and if you looked at Obama's record, it would probably be very close to McCain's record as far as following the president.
Well, when you look at, say, in the last 6 votes that had to do with energy differences and creating new energies and new energy resources, basically Obama voted in those last 6, and McCain didn't even show up. So when he stands up and gives a speech about what he's going to do to change energy policy and how he's going to promote wind, solar, et cetera, but doesn't show up to the last 6 votes.
Well, I don't think any
First
of them
drilling.
have shown up with
No,
all
well,
the
Obama
campaigning
did.
that's going. Well, he hasn't shown up for a lot of votes, and neither has McCain, and many of the people
Well-
running for president have been campaigning, and they haven't been showing up for votes lately.
But you can't say one thing, especially if you're saying country first, country first, country first. You can't be saying country first, but I'm not going to show up because I'm busy. And if you're saying it's because I need to get elected, then basically he's the one that came out and said I'd rather lose an election than lose a war. So you can't really go back and
And
forth.
also,
and go back
I
and
have
forth.
to say, he has a mindset that is not of her generation. Let's face it, if it's of mine or the one before me. And I think it's time for a new mindset. It's time for a new political view, a new world view, someone who can present something to the world that maybe is a little fresh and different. McCain is not that. He's a warrior. Yes, he's a brave man. We've heard the story many times, but that doesn't make him a leader, and it doesn't make him inspire anyone to move into some new kind of action. You're going to have a guy in there who has fresh ideas, who can, talk to both sides of the table and really present something new and get something done. I just don't think McCain will do that.
Yeah, I think he does talk to both sides.
I think he's an
And
old
I
war
think
horse.
And I think that Obama, if you listen to his speech, he's following the Democratic line all the way down. And that's what was such a turnoff to me, because I'm an independent and I don't agree with the Democratic line. And that speech was just all the way down, completely.
Now, if you listen to it
And if you
carefully,
listen to John McCain's speech last night, he's talked about, he talked against the Republican Party in his speech. I mean,
Okay.
No, I agree with you. I agree that he did that, and there are some part. I genuinely feel that if you're going to be proactive, you have to inspire others to be proactive, and you have to be a diplomat, and you can't go in people believing that you are known to get angry, or people that know that you are known to be a maverick, and some people. And he even said in his speech, some people don't like me very much. And I'm sorry, if you're going to be negotiating
Well, they
and
don't
that
like
is your
him because
job.
they don't go. He doesn't go along with the party line.
But even if that's the case, your job is to be a diplomat. By very definition of being a president, your job is to go out into the world, represent the U.S. You're basically a big ambassador, and you make a lot of decisions. And if you can't be perceived as somebody who's going to be moving people and inspiring people, then nothing's going to get done. Nothing will get done.
Okay, the last time the budget was balanced was under Clinton. And he was, even though you may not like him, I don't know what your views are, but he was a middle-of-the-road politician. He did talk to both sides. He did get things done. The Republicans liked him. They passed.
Well, that's the same. You can say the same for McCain,
but he hasn't.
I don't see. I don't. Budget.
Okay.
I'm going to go into the debt, so we can
Okay.
move to the next topic. And another movie I know you saw. I don't normally talk about movies, but today we are. Is the movie IOUSA. Now I don't know. Did you get a chance to see that? You haven't seen that.
We couldn't get her in the ticket. The
I
theaters were sold out everywhere.
I know. I barely got it.
It was.
That's true. They were.
I'm waiting to see it come into theaters. I don't know if it's going to, but
so this was regarding our debt, which now is at $9 trillion, I believe.
Close to, yes.
And it's something like 50% of America essentially is owned by other nations, mostly China and Japan.
Right.
Right, and we are already $56 trillion in debt. In other words, if you look into if you include all the liabilities,
we're going to be owing.
What we've already spent.
Oh, I see.
No, it's what we've spent. We have spent all the Social Security money, all of the Medicare money, all the Medicaid money, and so her generation, the generation after her, are going to have to pay through the nose to get that debt paid off, and it's kind of scary after watching that movie.
Well, they had the movie, and then they had the panel of experts, and David Walker was the former controller for the United States, right?
Yes, yes.
And then Warren Buffett was there along with some other individuals. And David Walker was basically trying to convince us that this is a huge problem, and really pretty much the whole panel was. But I thought Warren Buffett he
was a Pollyanna. He said he was going to be.
He definitely hurt the message because you left there. Warren Buffett said, well, I think it can be handled, and it's not so bad. And he sounded like George Bush, basically, as far as his take on it.
He didn't want people to walk out afraid, because it was a scary message.
You're not going to do anything if you don't think it's something that's a serious situation. And people are always going to take the easy way out, and they go, oh, it's okay, great, I don't have to do anything, because people always try to be lazy if they can.
He felt the country could outproduce the debt. That we will,
it's always expanding, he said.
That we will stay innovative. But if you look at the schools, and you look at the state of the schools, and you look at, are we getting stupider? Really?
Exactly.
Then are we going to be able to keep up with China and India and so on and so forth, who is producing 100 times more engineers than we are? I don't know.
Right. Well, I read an article today, too, that like the largest bank in China is actually having huge problems now with capital because they have all this, basically all these investments in the United States, and they're all losing value.
Right.
So they're like $1 trillion that they, have lost essentially. So they're, and so I suppose this leads to a position in the future where they may not want to invest in our country so much.
They may not pull out, but the scare is, yes, they won't want to continue to buy U.S. Treasuries if they continue to lose money, and they may invest in Europe instead. And then what that would lead to, I would assume, is that we start printing money to pay the interest on the debt, and that leads to further inflation, and inflation gets out of control, and then we're all in trouble.
I mean, I didn't understand, how when World War II came, there was the solution of everybody needs to buy bonds.
I know, I agree.
That wasn't even asked.
I know.
They didn't even suggest that.
I know,
Yes, why not buy bonds to get us out of the
I think people would do it.
I
would
do
do
too.
it.
I did.
If there was a leader that told them to do that.
I agree. Instead of like a leader who says go shopping.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. And I didn't really understand why there was this fear about other countries, other than the fact that they wouldn't continue to buy, invest in America. I don't understand what the fear is, because
they're in trouble too.
They're already in trouble, and
we go
they're
down,
as much invested in us as we are in them in a lot of ways.
We could all go down.
But yeah, exactly.
But I think from what I understood, it seemed like it came down to personal accountability. And the fact that when I look at the amount that the Chinese save, on average, they save 50% of their income. and on average,
I know,
we're
that's
in debt.
amazing.
Yeah, we don't save at
The
all.
average individual.
In fact, what did they say? They
Right,
said
there's
12%.
none.
That used to be 12% the savings rate, and now it's like negative. It's the other
Right,
direction.
exactly.
And
So-
in the Federal Reserve, and there's no free market anymore. I got that out of there too. There's no free market because the Federal Reserve, has the right to increase or reduce interest rates, which can mean inflation. Are they going to save the stock market, or are they going to do the things for the average guy, Joe Blow, and keep interest rates low, or worry about inflation? And they are in a quagmire. They really don't know which way to go, and all of it can lead to people just not spending. And if we stop spending in this country.
Well, everything that I read, since we touched on Obama and McCain, I actually read that in both scenarios, from both sides, that independent reviews done of their economic plans said that we would be going further into debt with either plan. And what I don't understand, especially as a young person who's concerned, obviously, because it's going to end up falling on my shoulders, if not my own kids, and why either one of them is doing tax cuts, or why one of them doesn't have the gumption to stand up and say, no, we're kind of in a bad place. It's time, I can't give you a tax cut, and I'm not going to give you a refund. We didn't stand up and do something in 9/11. This is what we're going to do. I mean, I think that somebody could have presented that, and I don't care which candidate it was, whoever would have said that, I would have been behind that person.
You would have, but most people wouldn't.
You're right.
Most people think about them. They think about their pocketbook, and they just want.
You can't win an election
right
that way.
now.
Yeah, I know, and that being the case, that's what makes me worry about America getting stupider. But I think that there is something to be said about somebody who can stand up and ask somebody of anything. I think that George Bush was given that opportunity at one point. He could have asked us to do anything, and unfortunately, it was pretty much a lost opportunity. But I do think that should this movie go to theaters and people actually get to see it.
I don't know. I felt like the panel I think Warren Buffett definitely derailed the entire project. I really do. I mean, I left there going, wow, we don't even have a problem. I don't even know why
if you go and
I have to worry about this.
If you go and read what he said about this, he agrees with this. There's a problem. It was a little bit strange, but.
Well, it's enough to make you want to drink. So what do you think about the idea
Here's another thing that frightens me about McCain when he said, I really don't know much about the economy. And I saw him.
Well, that was a really dumb thing to say.
That was a really dumb thing.
Well, then on top of that, when he was interviewed by the pastor, when they were did the sit down with the Saddleback Ranch guy, one of the questions that was asked was, who are the top 3 advisors that would help you through, your presidential stay? And 2 of them were generals, and then one of them was the owner of eBay.
Right, Meg Whitman.
And I thought to myself, like, okay, I thought you knew war and all of that, so why you need 2 more advisors to help you out there? When you have already admitted where your weaknesses are, why not, show the people, like, but I have people in mind that can help me. And again, it was just another lost opportunity. I was like, oh, please, just
Well, I'm going to go to the next topic.
Okay.
And there are apparently 104 university professors who want the drinking age to be lowered. And they think that this, because of all the binge drinking and the secret drinking that's going on at colleges, they feel that this age should be lowered. And I want to see, what do you think about that idea?
Absolutely. It's one way to help pay off the debt.
Yep, tax it.
No,
do it and tax it.
Tax it a lot.
Alcohol.
We were talking about this today.
Actually, there was an article that you had sent us. It was actually that one. And what I did when I read the article about the people that wanted to lower the age,
now, this will never happen.
This is what I do. Whenever I get an article online, my favorite part is actually to scroll down and read all the comments. I'm much more interested in how people react than what's actually being said, because that will tell me who's reading it and whether or not they can read. And so with the comments, one of the ones at the very bottom was literally a guy who said, listen, let's lower the drinking age, tax alcohol. Let's legalize pot, tax the hell out of it. And then let's go ahead and, do prostitution, gambling, and let's just get out of debt.
Internet gambling.
And what's the problem? What's the problem?
You know that internet gambling is legal in Britain, and so and of course all of the internet gambling that goes on in the U.S., which there's a lot of, you're going to a site that's in the Antilles or somewhere offshore, right?
Barbados, Jamaica.
And all of that tax money is being lost. I mean, people are going to gamble online if they want to. There's tons of sites where they can go. So Britain was smart enough to legalize it, and they're getting all this revenue. We won't because we're a religious country. So.
Maybe we need to open
I
up
don't
a
have a
couple
problem
more
with that at all. I mean,
confessionals,
I actually don't have a problem with the
You
idea
know,
of gambling
so
and
there's-
bringing in revenues from gambling.
there would be a
But as
lot
for
of
the
revenue.
drinking age, I'm not sure because it really has cut down the deaths. I think it's been a 50% decrease in teens under 21 as far as deaths because when the alcohol age limit was increased. And there actually been a lot of positives. Also, people say that, you know, if the drinking age is 21, then people, when they're 19 or 20, you'll try to pretend they're 21. But if you lower it to 18, then you'll
Then
have
it's
16
16
and
to
17-year-olds
15,
going in there. And
No, I agree with that
so
wholeheartedly.
there are a lot of arguments,
And
I remember.
rational arguments
I
as
think
to
at
why
the
it's
table,
not a
I
good
was
idea.
in college the most recently, or I don't, you know, you're always in college.
Thanks a lot. That's
You're
right.
probably always hanging out
I'm
at
in
the
college
bars.
right now.
Yeah, I remember. I was 18.
So-
All my friends drank.
No, well, and I mean, the bottom line is that you know, if there's a keg stand available, it will be had. And if there's, you know, a beer bong around, then somebody's going to use it. And yes, there's a lot of drinking going on, and I do feel that there was a real hard, the one thing that I read again in the comments section was that there is a rift, and it's difficult when you're in a college situation where you're 18 to 22. And half of those students can go hang out in one place, and the other half have to find another place. And so you either have some trying to, you know, go in, but the bottom line is that there's drinking on both ends. Mm-hmm. There is. There's
Yes,
no way.
absolutely.
And what his suggestion again, somebody said, well, either raise it so that it's over college, you know, everybody can start drinking at 22.
Right.
Or lower it to where it's 18 so that you don't have these two conflicts where, you know, half the time the police is wrapped up in having to deal with noise disturbances, having to deal with, you know, somebody walking home drunk or somebody driving home drunk or somebody, there's literally, I forget what it's
No,
called.
that's a
but
good
if you're
argument. I haven't even
Right.
heard
on a
that
bicycle.
argument. That's a good
right,
argument.
But in terms of it being that awkward age, right in the middle, I think it doesn't really make sense, no matter how you cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean,
One
for
thing-
me, bottom line is if you can go to war,
One
you can
thing
have beer.
you know, I notice they do now, and it's not, and this would not matter how old you are, is that in bars they do a lot of shots now. They didn't do that when I was drinking at 18.
Yeah,
but
there's
they
a lot of
also do,
shots.
but they also do the, you know, the chugging on those. What are they called?
Well, if you can shotgun a beer, I mean, there's a lot of names for it. You can
But it's like-
shotgun
it's
a
a
beer.
She
massive-
knows all about
That's
that.
it.
She's an
There's the
expert.
drop shot where there's
okay.
like a full beer.
I have to wrap it up, but I want to thank you so much for being on the
We're done?
show. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
goes very
God.
fast. So thanks for joining us. I hope we put some uncommon sense into your life as you putter through your day. Remember, everybody's wrong but me. See you next time.
See, I told you.
Sometimes it seems like the world is run by chimpanzees, even though some of them might come with college degrees. It's getting hard to separate the facts from fiction, but I think I can say with obvious conviction that in this old world, everybody's wrong but me. Everybody's wrong to disagree with me. That really chaps my eye. I thought it all through so very carefully. There's no point even considering the other side. Still,